Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Healing Tribe. I'm Andrea Logan White, and we have Heather McKean and Tiffany Jeffers. And today we are going to talk about the subconscious versus the conscious mind. And that involves part of our healing. So jump in and tell us about what is the difference of the conscious and the subconscious.
Okay. So the conscious mind is our thinking mind. It's like when we're aware of something, that's the conscious mind. It's the thoughts that we think. It's what we really think. When we think thoughts, we think, that's the smarter part about us. It's actually not. And it's actually a fairly new development in our evolution because it really came with the development of the prefrontal cortex. Mm-hmm. So that's where this awareness comes in to play. So we'll often be very conscious about our thoughts and feelings and think that that's where the answer lies. But honestly, it's our subconscious mind that is the real director of everything. It's sort of the behind the scenes director. So the subconscious mind is what helps us breathe. I don't know about you, but I don't have to often think about sometimes breathing deeper and slowing myself down. But I don't think about breathing. I don't think about my pumping blood through and my blood pressure and regulating my temperature and all of that. That is the subconscious mind's job. And it also dictates our behavior because it's got all of the resources to do so. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a little bit, but it's once we know that's the subconscious mind that's driving so much of our behavior, so much of actually even our thoughts and feelings, why we do what we do, how we do what we do, then we want to know more about it. We're like, okay, so what is this whole thing? So did you have something on that as well?
The conscious mind can hold 4 to 7 active thoughts at a time. And if you hold any more, then you can go into chaotic thinking or overwhelm, or what we know as anxiety. And the subconscious mind is incredibly fast. It is the smarter part about us. It operates at 400 billion actions per second. And it really is the genius part about us because, when you learn how to drive a car, initially you're doing a lot of things consciously. It's a ton of work. You have to do like 100 things. You have to remember to put your signal on and press the brake, and it's a lot of things. But when you learn how to drive and you're driving 5 years later, it's all subconscious. It's all operating from the subconscious mind, and you don't even have to think about it. You arrive at work and you're like, oh, I'm here, And so that's the basics of the speed.
And so for healing to happen and change to happen, we can't just deal with the now and the conscious. Is that correct? We have to focus and try to get into that subconscious, the patterns and the memories, and into the subconscious mind to kind of make change.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the subconscious mind has one goal, and it's to keep us alive. Mm-hmm. It doesn't process in the same way as the conscious. It doesn't do like, well, I kind of feel like this, or it's purely, it takes the input in and it files it and sorts it with no like emotion or feeling. It takes things very simply, and it processes billions of bits of information that are coming in all the time. So right now, I'm aware that I see you and some things in the background. I can hear some birds and the roosters every once in a while. But what's actually that I have the ability to bring in and what my subconscious is doing, it's aware of billions of bits of information. If I were to consciously try to be aware of more than a few, then I start to just glitch a bit, right? So the subconscious mind is the thing that takes in all of that data every day. When we sleep, the subconscious mind goes to work, filing, filtering, going through all of that stuff. That's why when we miss sleep for a certain amount of time, we start to feel very overwhelmed. We get a little bit hazy, daisy, kind of where I've been the last few days. But it's because the subconscious mind needs that time to focus and organize. So our subconscious mind is a lot like a computer in the way that, so I'm a Mac person. I like Mac products.
Me too. Yep.
So Apple and Mac, we're a Mac family. So my husband and I, we have our MacBook Pros, and when we get our MacBook Pros, they come pre-programmed with hard drives, right? I think even the least techie of us can kind of understand this.
Yes.
I open it up and it actually already does quite a few things. It knows how to have a calendar, and it's pre-programming, okay? We're born blank slates. We get hard drive programmed by our environment. Mm-hmm. So we are not yet having any real development in our prefrontal cortex. So we're a very primal being still as little ones, right? And we're learning, we're getting skills from the environment. So, but we're at a very basic level of survival. Because if you think about it, when a baby's born, their very survival is based on their surroundings. If mom and dad don't feed us, don't change us, don't give us some water, and hopefully some love once in a while, we're going to have, at best, developmental issues. At worst, we'll die. Like, babies come into the world, their subconscious mind already knowing this. So we are now these little sponges soaking up every bit of information, but on a very primal level. So when something happens, it goes straight through into our processing of our subconscious mind. And if we deem this at all a threat or danger or anything like that, the amygdala gland goes, oh, hey, it gets brought on board. Amygdala gland regulates fight, flight, freeze response, right? Mm-hmm. So then when that happens, then we produce chemicals in association with that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is how we start to get built. We come in with certain hardwired things. We can breathe. We can digest for the most part, if we're coming with all this hardwired stuff. But then we start adding apps, if you will. Mm-hmm. But our app pool comes just from our surroundings. So if mom and dad have limited emotional intelligence, not because there's anything wrong with mom and dad, they're doing the best job that they can. That's right. Yep. But they can only offer me what they have. Right. That's it. So they're my primary caregiver. I'm learning from them. So I'm downloading sort of mom and dad app in me. And they're really helping me shape the way that I download everything else. So like, for instance, my husband's more on the creative video editing side. So on his MacBook Pro, he has Final Cut Pro. Mm-hmm. So he can do video software, or I don't know what it's called. What do you call it? Editing. See, you can tell I don't have this on my MacBook Pro because that's just not what's been downloaded for me. Right. So it's a lot like that with our environment. We get downloaded into from our environment. Now, what happens is each one of those external events is then filed into file folders in our brain. I'm making this very an analogy to this so we can kind of understand it. But if I were to MRI your brain, mm-hmm. and I were to tell you to go to a certain memory, a happy memory, these little neural clusters are going to just light up and be bright little tree-like things in your brain. They're then hooked into other little bright trees. And what we have then is all these neural clusters, which are actually skills. Everything we do is a skill. You have to learn how to eat. We don't actually come in hardwired how to use a spoon and a fork. That's something that has to be given to us. Right. If you grew up in China, you'd be downloading an app that probably has something more to do with chopsticks. Yeah. Right? And eventually you can learn to eat with a fork. I didn't learn to eat with chopsticks, and I'm still a little rough around the edges with that till I was an adult, because that just wasn't my, downloaded program. Mm-hmm. So we've got all these neural clusters in our brain, and those are skills. So like she mentioned driving as a skill. So most of us have that skill now, and I'm sure you've driven to work, to the studio, to something like that, and you'll be there, oh my gosh, I don't even remember driving here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Subconscious now. Like she said, it's now subconscious programming. But that came because of a skill. When did you learn to drive?
15.
Okay. You started learning the minute mom and dad put you in a car from the hospital, because you still had awareness. Oh, right. Yeah. Right? There's this thing, this could eat you, and they're putting you in it. Now we don't have a lot of conscious thought at that point, but still our subconscious mind is taking in everything. Right. So to learn even what a car is, how a door, the steering wheel, we start to learn to drive from the minute we're ever introduced into a car. So these skills get built, and those files the subconscious mind starts storing those files, right. So that when you go and you sit behind your car, your subconscious mind without any awareness consciously, has pulled up this file, flipped through it, and you already know how to put the key in, turn it, you got the brake on, you look over your shoulder. All of that happens, you don't even think about it.
Right. Yep.
Subconscious programming. Everything we do is subconscious programming. Everything we do is a skill. And it's based on all of these file folders in our mind. You with me with that?
Yes.
Subconscious mind.
Yes.
So let's take something, how we create a problem based on this model. So let's say we've got someone with a public speaking fear, right? So number one fear, people say, is a fear of public speaking.
Uh-huh.
So I want to just kind of walk you through how someone would build a fear of public speaking through the way our subconscious mind works. Mm-hmm. So you've got this little kindergartner. We're going to call him Sam. So Sam comes in, he's a little kindergarten boy. Maybe he's a little shy or whatever. Again, that's going to come from his programming. Mm-hmm. Now, he might have a certain disposition, but that will either be enforced or pushed away by his external events and those different things, the influences around him. But let's say he's a fairly well-adjusted 5-year-old coming into kindergarten, and he's been introduced to his class enough. He feels safe in his class. He likes his teacher. He likes his classmates, and it's the day for show and tell. So Sam brought Teddy. Teddy's his teddy bear. He loves Teddy. He's so excited to share with his classmates about Teddy. So Sam gets up in front of the class. He feels no real anything about that. He doesn't have any references. Believe me, his subconscious mind already went, okay, what's this? New? Okay, this is new. Mm-hmm. It takes anything it can sort of relate to this and be like, those people love me. She loves me. I'm loved. Great. I can be myself. That's probably what's been being produced at this moment. So Sam gets up and he's sharing about Teddy in front of the teacher's desk. The teacher goes to sit in her chair, rolly chair, as teachers have, right? So what Sam is seeing is his classmates listening intently, and he's focused on talking about Teddy. Miss Smith goes to sit in her chair. She misses her chair. It rolls out from underneath of her. She falls on her rear end.
Oh, poor Miss Smith.
I know. What does the class do?
Divert attention to Miss Smith.
And probably what is happening if we've got a bunch of 5-year-olds?
Laughing.
They are laughing, right? Miss Smith just took a tumble. They're laughing. But Sam doesn't know that Miss Smith fell on her rear end in the back behind him. What does he immediately think when all these people start laughing?
Yeah.
They're laughing at me, right? Because we're still in a very primal, we're not looking for an outside source. We're looking for, why are these people laughing?
Right.
And then we're very self-focused at this point, right? So he's like, they're all laughing at me. So then immediately his amygdala gland goes, ding! And now he's producing stress hormones. Because the amygdala gland, the subconscious mind doesn't go, oh, don't worry, Miss Smith fell. And everyone loves you. You're fine. It goes,
something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Stay tuned for more on our next episode.
With over 10,000 titles, it would be impossible for us to show you everything on pureflix.com. But let's give it a shot.